Good morning, fam. It's a great day. Happy Saturday to everyone. I'm going to give everyone just 30 seconds or so to get here. While we wait, I'm going to get myself all set up. But happy Saturday to you all as you are flowing in. I'm so happy you're here. My name is John, but if you're here, you probably already know that. So, hey Jordan, how are you? Hello, everyone. I'm just getting myself all set up as you all flow in. I'm happy you decided to join us. Just getting myself all set up here, and then we'll get started in, I don't know, 60 seconds or so? 60 seconds, maybe? I hope you all are having a great Saturday. Some of you, Saturday is just getting started. I'm sure for others of you, Saturday is maybe just ending. But regardless, I'm very excited that you decided to join us today. We're going to do a little AMA, a little Ask Me Anything. But before we do, I'm just going to tweet out this link and then we will get going. I have a couple of housekeeping things that I do want to start with, and I'll start with those in about 30 seconds. But as for now, maybe I'm going to tweet this link out. One moment. And actually, if you all would do me a favor and tweet this link out as well, that would be awesome, because I'm going to be on here, like I said, for the next 20 minutes, and I would love to talk with everyone. Everyone. All right. Now that we're here, let's do some shout outs, yeah? If you're here, just hook me up in the comments. I see Jordan is here, Helen is here, Samuel's here, Marley's here, Zama is here, Angel is here, Lauren is here, Trey is here, Noah is here, Princess DD Bubblegum is here, Trey is here, Gabrielle is here, Carol, oh my gosh, so many people, Kenzie, Nathan, so good to see you all. Pogaska, I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm going to butcher so many names today, and I apologize for doing that. All right, why don't we just get started? Hi, Robin. How are you? So, two housekeeping things, two little announcements I want to make before we get into the AMA. So, firstly, hopefully you all know that I just uploaded to my channel my second ever, what I'm calling a YouTube special. You know how like stand-up comedians, they will have like a Netflix special or an HBO special. For me, as sort of a spoken word poet, preacher, communicator, I have a YouTube special, and it's my show, That Guy from That Video, that I've been traveling around the country for the last year or so. I've taken it to 10 different cities, actually, and I would love for you all to go watch it. It is now available free for you to watch on my YouTube channel. I would love for you to go watch and enjoy that. The second thing, this is an AMA, this is an Ask Me Anything, so please do ask me anything. One feature that I wanted to let you all know about with these AMAs, and if you've been watching the last couple days, you know about the Super Chat feature. What the Super Chat feature is, it actually is located just below where you would type something in. Just to the right on your screen of where you would put an emoji, there's a little $sign, and what that allows you to do, it allows you to do two things. First, it allows you to sort of highlight your question or comment, makes it easier for me to see it because sometimes the chat moves pretty quickly and it's hard to see. And the second thing it does, it allows you to help support this channel. It is a token of appreciation, it is a thank you, and you can give $1, you can give $5, you can give $20, you can give whatever amount you want. It's just a great way for you to support the creators that you love. And so if this channel has encouraged you in any way, I highly recommend for you to perhaps engage in the Super Chat. And regardless, I'm going to answer as many questions as I can in the next 20 minutes. So, without further ado, let's get right down to it and answer some questions. Throw some questions down in the chat. All right, Jordan asks, what's your thoughts on tattoos? So, Jordan, I have a video on tattoos. My Can a Christian series, I talk about it. So if you just Google John Jorgensen tattoos, you should be able to find a much more thorough investigation of my thoughts on the theology of tattoos than I would be able to give you right here. So go and watch that video. Nahid asks, what is your fave movie? My favorite movie, so my top movies, right now I believe my favorite movie is Remember the Titans. Disney's Remember the Titans. Yes, I believe that movie was way ahead of its time. I believe that movie is really saying something, and I just love sports movies. I love movies that have a message. I love movies that have great acting, and I love Disney movies. So it's kind of everything combined into one. Now, another one of my favorite movies is 10 Things I Hate About You. I love high school movies. I love high school movies. It gives me this sense of nostalgia. High school for me was the most fun I ever had in school. And high school movies like 10 Things I Hate About You and Sleepover with Alexa Vega. I love those movies. They just sort of give me this nostalgic, happy feeling. So those are a couple of my sort of definitely those latter couple are some of my more shallow favorites, if you will. Noah asks, have you seen Avengers Infinity War? I have not. I don't really go and see superhero movies. I'm not a huge fan of superhero movies. It's kind of strange because I just talked about what my sort of guilty pleasure of shallow movies is, and it's not superhero movies. For me, I would much rather go see sort of a high school comedy, romantic comedy type thing, which maybe that makes me weird, but you know what? I'm gonna be myself. So anyway, let's see. Marika, sorry, asks, how do you handle people gossiping about you? I think honestly, the easiest thing that I would deal with it is just ignore it. Just try and obviously, like, that's easy to say, right? Just ignore it. It doesn't matter what other people think. Yeah, that's easy to say, but really, like, do your best to just ignore it. Like, if someone's really taking time to gossip about you, that's not really someone that you want to allow into your heart and into your mind and into your space or sphere at all. And so I would do your best just to ignore it, forget about it, and focus on using your words that you have to give life to other people and to yourself. And so that's what I would say. What else do we have? Oh gosh, I'm sorry. Lyswan asks, what book are you reading right now besides the Bible? So I've been working through The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. And at the same time, I've been also listening to a book called Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. They're both nonfiction books. I was on a real kick of fiction for a while that I was really, really enjoying. But recently I've gotten a little bit more into the nonfiction kick, and I move very, very slowly through books. I am a historically slow reader. And so I'm moving through those a little bit right now. Thank you for your questions. Oh, let's see. What else do we have? Michelle asks, when you and Sweet Bear first got married, how did your daily quiet time with God differ? Did you start doing studies together or separately? How did that look? Thanks, Michelle. That's a great question. So Sweet Bear and I kind of go on and off in terms of times where we study together. Oftentimes we have very intense short seasons where each and every day we are sitting down to study together. And like I said, those seasons happen, every now and then, and they were happening long before we got married. But for the most part, we sort of do our study separately, and we do a lot of our prayer time together, and we do a lot of our prayer time before we go to bed. We sort of made a rule for ourselves a while ago that we don't turn on the TV and start watching something until we have taken the time to pray. And so in terms of quiet time with God, in terms of study, usually we do that separate. Every now and then, especially, after church, we'll have some time where we talk about the message and what we learned from it. But then we do a lot of our prayer time together. And so that's kind of how we go about it. But like I said, we started doing that a long time before we got married. Zama asks, what music are you into at the moment? So honestly, and this is very controversial, I'm sure, I am not a huge music fan. That's just, and not that I'm not a big music fan, it's just music for me has always been something that goes in the background or along with something else or while I'm doing something else. I've never been a person who goes to concerts. Like, music for me has never been the main thing. I listen to music because it helps me concentrate, or I listen to music because it gets me going on a run, or I listen to music because I want to dance. Music to me has always kind of been the second thing. And so I don't listen to a ton of music. I'll tell you right now, you can if you can find me on Spotify and find my running playlist, that has, like, for now, kind of the 25 my 25 favorite songs of all time on it. And it's a very, very strange, eclectic mix of songs. And you can get a little taste into what I enjoy. What I enjoy. Pogaska, sorry if I'm butchering your name, asks, how is Buckets doing? Buckets is dope. Buckets is doing awesome. He's been a little sick lately. I think he deals with a lot of allergies around this time, so he's been a little lethargic and stuff. And just because we're not sort of living in our own place right now, I think he's just sort of out of his routine, but he's doing great. We love him. We're about halfway through now, so I do want to remind you all about that guy from that video, my new YouTube special. It's on my channel right now. If you haven't taken the time to watch it yet, it's an hour. It's an hour long, but seriously, grab some popcorn. You know, if you have a smart TV or something, put it on the TV or put it on your laptop and sit and enjoy it. It's on my channel right now. I would highly recommend doing that. Oh, Sweetbear, sorry, Sweetbear just texted me a question. And then secondly, I do want to remind you that the Super Chat feature is available. This is a great way for you to give $1, $5, whatever it is right now, and it really helps to highlight your question so that I can see it. A lot of you have been asking the same questions over and over, but more than that, it's just a way for you to show support for this ministry, and it helps this ministry grow. It helps me to reach more people with the gospel, which is exactly what we are here to do. Back to the questions. Caroline asks, how did you know you loved Sweetbear versus just liked her? That's a great question. I think I knew rather quickly that I loved her, but there's a bunch of different kinds of love, isn't there? You know, the first, you know, the Bible, especially in the New Testament, the writers, they use different Greek words for love. Some words philia or dode, or there's all these different words that talk about sexual love or physical attraction. There's raya, which is a word that shows about friendship, communion kind of love. And then there's this agape love, and that's the kind of love that God has for us. And that's the kind of love that we are called to love our spouses with, this agape kind of love. And so for me, I think it was definitely different kinds of love as it went on. But that agape kind of love, it really doesn't have anything to do with feelings or emotions, and it has everything to do with a decision. Agape, it is this selfless, self-giving kind of love. This is the love that Christ had for us as he gave his life for us on the cross. And for me, it was a while, and it took me some time to sort of decide, I know I love this girl. I know I feel so much love for this girl, but I need to get to a place where I can decide that I'm going to love her with an agape kind of love. A love even when I don't feel like it. A love when, even if it doesn't feel like she deserves it sometimes because she's being mean to me or whatever it is. It took me a while to come to that decision. And I think that's a decision that we have to come to before we enter into a covenant like marriage. So that's what I would say. Let's see. What else do we have? Jean John Lee asks, can a Christian date a non-Christian? Again, I have a video on this, and I'm not just saying like, go watch my videos. What I'm really saying is, in these videos, I have taken hours to study and to think about how I wanted to articulate these points, and really dig into God's word and pray about it to sort of come up with a lesson, a well thought out lesson. And so if a lot of these questions, you know, about tattoos or about dating a non-Christian, I address those in my Can a Christian series. If you just go to my channel, go to one of my playlists called Can a Christian, you're going to get a lot better answers than me just sort of going off the cuff here. Overall, though, I think you'll find it's not as black and white, in my opinion, as a lot of people make it. Some of these questions, they're not as black and white as we want to make it. And even if they are, there's something deeper going on. And so I would highly recommend that you go check those out. Sophie asks, if you had 20 seconds to speak and your voice would be heard by everyone in the world, what would your message be? My message would be that there is a God who created the world and who loves you more than you could ever imagine. And everything that you have been searching for in your life, that feeling that you had that there has to be more than this, that feeling that you had that you weren't enough, whatever that feeling is, everything that you've been searching for to fill that void, to fill that hole, it is found in God, specifically found in Jesus. And I would implore people to spend some more time and just search him out. Search him out through a church, search him out through his word, search out that God, because you will not be disappointed. In the hopes that people would then take that action and then God would do his work, his incredible work in their lives. I would hope that in those 20 seconds I might be able to just plant a seed in one person's heart where they would make a decision that they're going to give God a chance. I think that's often where it starts, is just making a decision. I'm going to give this whole God, Jesus thing a chance. And then God is powerful enough, I believe, to do an amazing transformative work in their lives. What else do we got? Nathan asked, do you think it is better for us to study the word in communion or by ourselves in private? I think there's room for both, and I think that is modeled in the scriptures as well. You see time, and this isn't necessarily Jesus studying the Bible, because obviously the Bible as we know it wasn't written then, there were the scriptures, but you see times where Jesus will get up early, time and time again, and he goes off by himself on a mountainside and he spends time alone with God. But then there's other times where you see Jesus is teaching, he's leading a discussion, he's telling a parable in community. And so I think that the Bible really does call us to both. The Bible calls us to meditation, which often will happen as one person, to meditate on his word day and night, but the Bible also calls us to fellowship and things like that. And so I would say a good mix of both. What else do we have? KB, have you done any challenges? Have you done any challenges in your faith journey apart from posting in social media? I'm not sure what you mean by that. If and you capitalize faith journey like you're talking about the album. So if you could clarify that, that would be super helpful to me. Let's see what else we got. Hey John, can you talk about your transition out of the theater world and into another job? This is from Fabulous Angel. I hate to keep saying this, but that is literally that question of how I transitioned from the theater world into what I'm doing today. That is the content of my entire YouTube special. And so if you want to hear that story in detail, then I would highly recommend you go and check that out. The short version of it, yes, Fabulous Angel, that is your question, and it's a really good question. The short answer of it is it was one of the most difficult, frustrating, humbling decisions I ever made, because I was going from something I found success in, something that I majored in college, the thing that I was always known for, to this thing that I hadn't studied in college, this thing that no one had hired me to do, this thing that I felt God was calling me to do, but I wasn't sure if I was equipped to do. You know, so many doubts went along with that decision. And I still deal with those doubts today, still wrestling with them. Yeah, it's a good question. Let's see. Hope asked, do you have any thoughts on different Christian denominations? I do. So I am a huge advocate for unity within the church cross-denominationally. And what I mean by that is I think that there is so much separation within the body of Christ. There are churches who, because they disagree on the theology of baptism, or they disagree on the theology of things like tattoos, or whatever it might be, they say, well, we have no business with one another, when in fact, they are actually a part of the same body. And if you extend that metaphor and you think, wow, what if my knee decided that it was no longer a part of the same body as my foot, because they just disagreed on one little thing that was actually not fundamental to the health of the body? Then the entire body suffers. And I think that when there is disunity in the church over these things that, not at all to say that they don't matter, they absolutely matter, but things that are not the foundation, when we are separating over something that is not the foundation, I think we are in real trouble, and I honestly think it breaks God's heart. So I am very passionate about my ministry hopefully being used to create ties and create bonds cross-denominationally, to perhaps begin to build bridges where people have broken them or burned them down. And that is my belief in it. So that's what I would say. I'll do a few more questions since we're here. Thank you all for watching. This really means a lot to me. I'm really loving doing these live streams. Oh, all right. What else? Um, Zoe asks, Zoe Ellen, what advice would you give to my friend who believes that God exists and believes that he is powerful, but says they can't follow Christianity because of all the rules? Help me help her. Haha, thanks. Of course. I mean that I think there's a lot of people in that position. And I think the short answer and the answer that may help would be for to me when I look at Christianity, specifically when I look at following God, God did not call us to follow. Jesus didn't call us to follow him. God did not send his son to die on a cross so that we could have rules to follow, so that we could be burdened by the law. Actually, he sent his son to die so that we would no longer be burdened by the law, but that we could actually be free from that, so that we would not be slaves to that anymore, but that we would actually be free and we would be slaves to righteousness now, so that now the law and these rules, they're actually something that we long to follow. They're commandments that we long to keep because we know it draws us closer to Christ. Now, you can explain that to your friend and it just might not click in her head or his head. I'm not sure. Oh, I think her, because you said that. And so you can explain that I think Christianity is a lot more about the abundant life that God has saved us to live than it is about doing everything right. Actually, Christianity is the exact opposite of a religion where you have to follow all the rules. It is a religion where you have been saved from following all the rules, and the love you have for that Savior drives you to want to serve Him. And these rules, what they do, when you follow them, they actually help you to live this abundant, beautiful, joyful life that He created you to live. And so, again, I mean, you can take the link to this video if you want after it's done, and you can share that with her. But again, I believe that God is going to eventually open her eyes to that someday. And she's very lucky that she has a friend like you who's willing to walk alongside of her in the midst of these doubts and in the midst of these frustrations. I think there's a lot of people out there who say, you know, I'm all about God. I trust God. I believe in God. Just have a problem with Christians. I'm like that sometimes, to be honest. All right, that is it for today. That is it for our Q&A, our AMA, whatever you want to call it. I want to thank you all so much for watching. I so appreciate you. Really, I hope you have a fantastic weekend. I probably won't be able to do one of these tomorrow. However, I will be able to do a couple next week. And so be on the lookout. I'm going to be spontaneous with it. Every now and then I'll just jump on here. So thank you all again for watching. I love you all. I hope you have a great weekend once again. Keep being awesome.